Play a clip. APAR, big reveal for me was the HRO against April. Real reason was because Toe refused to pick up his own kids, and it was the only way to get him to pick them up. I believe that. April was a slave. Aaron wanted April to be a live-in nanny for Nick and his family. That's all she ever was. She mowed the grass. She shoveled the snow. She picked up the kids. Mm-hmm. She cooked the meals.
Yep.
She did the laundry. She handled all the mailing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was a slave. She was literally a slave.
She's a mum wife.
And a white one. They're not good.
He wanted a mum wife. Like,
yes.
Mummy that
for
looks
all the
after
stuff
him.
Jenny Jingles gets. There's a real April was actually a mom wife.
She was Mummy April to him.
Mommy, yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
You'll always be Mommy April to me. Do you mean to the kids? Like, why is she Mommy April to you?
Yeah, then 35 days later, she was a coke whore.
And it should be noted that when Aaron wrote that letter to April, he was with Slam Piece.
Yes.
He was all up in that new relationship.
Oh, then you know how much I pay for everything else. You understand that when you pay child support, there's a bunch of shit you can pay for that brings that number down, but you're still like, let's say if you pay $1,000 for insurance.
This is
You
insane.
don't.
But
you pay $800 a month for 3 children. So you can fantasize about spending $1,000. What he's trying to say is, like, if he takes the kids out and buys them new school clothes and it costs $400, then he only has to give $400 cash that month because he's supplemented with $400 of other expenses. That's shitty that you can't. Do you write off ice cream cones you buy your children? Like, what? $3 out of the kitty for old Ashley? This makes no sense.
the correct answer to this question of how much do you pay in child support is none of your fucking business. Like, why are you answering
whatever they
questions
need?
about?
Basically, this means he's like keeping a fucking record. He's basically got a log of everything he spends on his children, and he submits that to Ashley in order to give her less every month.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
Yes.
What kind of dad brags about that? No, it's great. Like, if you take him out to McDonald's, like, you can write off the $12 Happy Meals.
The one whose kids are a consolation prize. Like, he didn't choose the kids. April voted herself off.
Fucking amazing.
Like,
They'll knock that off of your monthly, but you're still paying $1,000 for insurance. You know what else it means? I get to own you anytime you want because you became an obsessive stalker guy obsessed with my dick, love life, children, family, and pocketbook. Red Scoper says, why does everything have to be a win or L for the toe? Okay, don't ruin the bit. Because when I say that, people get driven nuts by it.
We don't. I made that up. I'm the one who made that up, in case you forgot where you got it from. Cuck.
but also, because of your need to make everything a win, you've talked yourself into legal trouble. You've lost jobs. You've lost kids. You've lost relationships. Like,
Okay, Nick has not gotten in any additional trouble since he got arrested. Aaron has been to court for 2 other things since Nick got arrested. Hello? Aaron's in the middle of a crash and burn. Every show Aaron does is spin and cope. Aaron can't stop talking about this. Nick doesn't talk about it at all on his stream.
yeah,
Nick does what Aaron would call a pro show.
yes.
Where's this crash and burn everybody's seeing? It does, as far as I know, like, as far as streaming is concerned, it doesn't exist.
Wally World with a good point for you, willy-nilly. Didn't Nick have his kids 0% of the time for several months? Yeah. I mean, I had more unsupervised time with my children last year than Nick did.
False.
Okay. That's wild.
That's false.
That's wild. Like, Nick was without his kids for 2.5 months, 3 months, maybe. The rest of the time, Nick had his children. So Nick had full custody of his children for 9 months. Now, again, people will argue it's 6 months because that's how long the family litigation went on. 3 of those months, Nick had his kids. So Nick had full custody of his children for 9 months. Even if Aaron did have 50% custody, which he doesn't. I think on paper he does, but not actual. How does that add up? That's such a lie.
Mm-hmm.
I had more custody of my kids last year than Nick.
No.
No?
Well, if you want to break it down like this, Aaron doesn't have his kids. Aaron has his kids 0% of the time for part of every week forever.
Right. Right. And I would bet you money that when those kids turn 18, that percentage goes way down.
I think before.
Daddy's house is not a fun place.
I think before. When the kids are teenagers,
They're just not going to want to
they'll
go.
just be like, I don't want to go to dad's.
Right. Balin, don't make me. I mean, Dad, don't make me go to Aaron.
Or they'll go to dad's house because he's too busy doing the show and can't supervise them, and they can get up to no good.
There's the same guy in the chat's like, come on, Melton. Obviously, Nick's paying you. I'm actually paying Nick.
Right?
I'm actually going to pay Nick. Nick does not pay me. Again, Nick has never said, I didn't do this to me. This was their fault. Nick has sat there and said, I did drugs. I brought him into my house. I put my family through this. I put my children through this. I put my wife through this. I've heard Nick say that. Mm-hmm. Every time Aaron tells the story, he's like, these guys did, all this stuff and I had to get away from it. He's a victim.
And Nick's also acknowledging that he's in a shitty time of his life and he's trying to rebuild. Aaron's like, I've moved on. I'm fantastic right now. And he's like this every day.
Ryan the Garbage Man says, what was April's reaction when you found the Coke bullet next to your kid? She immediately tried to defend everybody. It was pathetic, but they were all coked out. It was trying to protect the Coke problem. Because the first thing when I found that thing is I go, everybody get the out of my house and this drug shit is done. And immediately she went into the shower to cry and say that I was being mean because I was kicking everyone out and said the drugs are done.
Are you sure it wasn't because you just fucked her thinking about Nick and she wanted to take a Silkwood shower about it? I don't, dude, the fact that every time Aaron thought about Nick fucking his wife, he got rock hard. When Nick told the story about how they had to pull over to fuck because he got highway hard about it.
In fact, out of everyone, there was one person that agreed with me and actually worked to console the children and whatnot.
What's her name? Say it.
Did you see the clip?
Only one
of Kiki?
No. Nobody did.
She mentioned Kayla on the show during a phone call.
Okay.
To Aaron on his show.
And he had to go, I don't
can't comment on that. And then he cut it out of his show. His instinct after all of this, everything that dropped from Nick, if he wasn't under any conditions, his tactic would have been to attack Kayla 100%.
No, Mike Big Hunt, this is a common misnomer. Ashley never really knew anything until I told her. So it wasn't about that. Beloved Chatter says,
didn't care if Ashley took the kids away because April was the star. So Ashley threatening to take the kids away would have been great for him.
It's the most heinous thing I think he ever said. That text where he said, if the kids had to go and April was here, I'd be fine.
Wild.
Again, those kids will grow up one day and hear that. I don't care what you say about context.
Yeah, the context made it worse.
Parents should not forsake their children for a gash.
Chad Buzamok says, I'm confused, though. You knew Ape was on cocaine, so you knew it must have been in the house and that she was on it with the kids. No, I didn't, because the first time Nick came over, he poured a bump out on my kitchen counter and did it, and I told him right then and there, I go, you cannot bring that shit in here. I have to.
But they did several other times. And then your wife did several other times. And you covered for it several times. This is horse shit.
3 kids. I share them with my ex-wife. If there's a speck of that shit in this house, I lose my kids. Absolutely not. And he promised me, in fairness to him, he did promise. He said, I will not bring it into the house. And then they just got so up.
And you took your kids over there where it was over and over and over. And you ran back over there. I'll be back tonight. I'd love to look at the house. This isn't late April. Who are you fooling? You took your kids to a house you knew drugs were at. Don't get all self-righteous. This is insane.
Been so bad with the coke, and they needed it everywhere, that he brought his Precious. He brought his safe with him and set it up in my bathroom. The minute I found out, I threw his ass out of there. I said, go bring that shit in your car. And he did. And he grabbed it and he packed it up and put it in his car. But then about 10 minutes later, I found the bullet that fell out of his pocket. And then it was, everybody get the out of here. I mean, it was...
Except for Kayla. We're going to make snow angels. And I'm going to make her make noises Nick never could.
And I didn't realize it then, but it was just because I didn't realize that as you get longer and longer into the addiction, you become more and more unreachable and sloppy.
You didn't know that? You didn't know that? You think the day one you do heroin, you look the same and act the same as day 365? You fucking tard.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
that people on drugs got worse and worse and more addicted and it affected their lives in more adverse ways. I didn't know that. Right.
I'd never been exposed to it before. So I thought it was just, they're always just junky, sloppy, but apparently it gets worse over time. Chad Buzamok says, you didn't realize as she was nodding off on shows. I didn't know that he had given her a bullet to keep in her purse until long after. They also had trays of cocaine that they would keep in their pocket and their purses. Like Nick.
Trays? Like a Taco Bell?
Would keep it. He had this tray of coke and he could just take it out in the car and he would rip lines off of it. It was, I mean, look, man, it's drug addiction. It's ugly. It's
like you don't eat gas station hot dogs in your car? Doing coke at home or doing it in your car is, what's the difference?
Nasty. I saw things that where you would go, people don't behave this way. He would rip lines right there in the car.
The vapors. And then Citizen M would accuse her of it, and then I would say, that shit stops now. Tell me when I'm telling lies. Yeah. Nobody's ever smoked a joint rolling down the road. Coke's probably less dangerous to do while you're driving than alcohol or weed. Like, I don't know how this is the gotcha. They did it in the car. Yeah.
I mean, when you're addicted to alcohol and cocaine, it's not like driving under the influence is a problem for you. It's not like you're like, well, I know I'm ripping lines everywhere all over the house, but I won't do it while I'm driving. Yeah, they don't draw that line. What did Ashley say when you came clean? She was very happy that I was getting rid of April. She was very happy that I had removed the kids from that situation. She was very understanding, and our relationship has been ridiculously good ever since. It's been really the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah, because she hadn't seen the text where you say you don't care about your children.
I guess de facto he became...
Also, I refuse to believe Ashley's retarded. She thinks you're a fucking clown. She's doing this for the children to try not to fuck them up further than they already are. But like, if you think Ashley thinks you're a great guy now and you're doing great, you're dumb. You're dumb.
My Lost Interest says your parents were right about April. Did April get along with your parents? She got along with them fine until they tried to tell her stuff, until they tried to tell me stuff, until they tried to, push back a little bit. Then I remember when we were camping and I told my dad about the engagement. I said, aren't you going to say congratulations? And he goes, why would I congratulate you for making a huge mistake? You do everything wrong.
And evergreen statement.
Keep owning them, Toe.
And April was standing right there. And we went in our camper and the kids were with us and everything else. And, we were pissed about it and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm not talking to that asshole until he apologizes. I was all hot. I was all worked up. April, and this was evil now that I look back on it. She goes, oh, but you're not going to leave? Why don't you have some balls and leave? And I told her, because the kids are here and they're with their grandparents and their cousins and they're playing and having fun. My dad would leave. And I'm like, wow, what if
Papa Scrimp?
He really, he left himself no option but to leave. He should have left of that situation. But before that, he shouldn't have ever gotten to the point where he created an ultimatum for his father to, like, aren't you going to congratulate me? That's confrontational. You're supposed to lay in groundwork before you ever get to that
Think
point.
about this in context now. He was willing to throw away the relationship with his mom and dad for April and his children.
Yes.
This guy's a piece of shit.
But
And again, I'm not saying people shouldn't pick their wife. That's their family over their parents.
But there's
A lot of times you can't choose your parents. Your parents are wrong. But from what we understand about Aaron, him and his dad had a good relationship.
Yep.
Everyone in his family told him April was a red flag, and he threw it all away. And then at the end, in the middle of all this, while he's acting self-righteous and sanctimonious about the coke usage and the polycule and all this stuff, this is in April. This is late.
Yeah.
He's willing to throw away his children. This guy's a piece of shit.
Absolutely. There's also ways to introduce your partner to your parents. And I guess it's increasingly difficult once you have children with someone else and they're your second partner. You're starting off on the back foot. But like I'm from I'm Arab. My family's Arab. My partner isn't. So she's from outside the culture. But there was like a lot of groundwork you need to put in order to like allow her to be accepted into an environment.
Exactly. The first time my wife met my parents, they didn't say much.
They're still doing the silent treatment. But you'll get the one.
You know, it was just all there was a lot of that shit.
What I'm
that,
trying to say is he expected them to just welcome April with open arms, and maybe they should have. I don't know, but he didn't put in enough groundwork there in order to make it a welcome environment for her, and then started laying ultimatums before they were ready to accept her. That's a losing battle. And then he seemingly took their side, made April upset, and then that caused him to have to completely cut them off. He set it up for himself. He made the situation bad. He sucks.
No, again, that I had a blind spot for and I didn't see. Mr. Fuzzy Bottom Jeans says, you abandoned the woman. You didn't walk away. You didn't even tell her parents. Yeah, I did. I told her parents. I called them and I said,
This is such spin too. He called them the night before they got arrested because he knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
He sat still for 7 weeks. Moody and I have both said this a million times. If my wife ran off and was addicted to cocaine, hanging out with some schlub lawyer, I'd call her parents immediately.
Even if
He sat for 7 weeks. Again, I don't think he has the brains to orchestrate this and know it was going to happen and set this in motion. But I think once he saw the ball rolling down the hill, he went.
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
again, to stay silent for 7 weeks, call them the night before they're arrested, and then be like, look, I tried to warn them and stop them. No. Ricada says schlubby lawyer is a weird way to say cool guy.
It's even if the relationship is burnt and there's nothing left in it and she hates you and she's never coming back and she's doing harm to herself and everyone around her, you still at least call the parents and say, there's nothing I can do. Please do something for her. At least as like the final act of you as her.
I tried to get her out of there. I brought over a candied bacon recipe.
said, look, she's not, I filed for divorce. I'm washing my hands of it, but you got to get her help. And her dad told me, her dad said, I knew at Easter she was on something. And he said, I know my daughter and I know that she has an addictive personality. And he goes,
Right. She married a radio guy she listened to. She met on a field trip.
He filed for divorce in May. So when he called her parents, this is like the timeline that he set up. He only called the parents after it was divorce time, which is well beyond the part where you're trying to fix things.
Yeah, it's like the guy who changes his Facebook status to single before he murders his wife.
Yeah.
It's like, we think you're guilty.
he the day before they got arrested, he said, we should have lunch. We should sit down and talk. Because I think
because that's the first time you talked to him about it. The day before they got arrested.
He talks so much about like traditional masculine values like racism and toxic masculinity and liking sports, but nothing about like protecting your family, caring about your children, worrying about your partner. Like none of that is part of his masculinity.
Let's see if anything he says in this clip makes him sound like a piece of shit.
Right.
This was her. Yep. This was the woman. I had her on my show. She was some kind of big activist. And she was like all into Black Lives Matter and shit. Like, let's have her on the show and let's talk about some shit. And she was actually really nice. She was really cool. And yeah, I remember I did get a lot of questions for this one.
More here in college than I could have ever experienced anywhere else.
But wait, was that April? That wasn't April time, was it? I feel like that was my first wife who got. Nope, you're right. It was April. The first wife got mad at
He
something
can't even tell his ex-wives apart anymore.
Which wife did I want to cheat on?
else. And that
And wait till you hear what he says.
one was totally legit. She was right to get mad about that one.
I took the initiative to be involved on campus. So
Shit, dude, if I would have known how things were going to end up, I would have.
So he cheated on his first wife.
Yep.
He cheated on his girlfriend while he was married with his wife. Knocked her up.
Yep.
Threw Slam Piece away when April came along. And now he's daydreaming about how all the pussy he could have got while he was with April if he would have known how it would have gone. If I only had a crystal ball, I would have totally cheated on April.
If I knew that one day she'd be a crack whore with a stinky pussy.
I wouldn't have waited so long to cheat on April.
It's insane.
Honestly, if I could have a crystal ball into the future,
I didn't even know he was going to say that.
I mean, shoot your shot, right? You were just being very flirty with her, and you were being
networking.
Dude, I can't help it. I'm the toe. I drip masculinity. You fell in love with me in a parking lot eating Subway sandwiches in the cold or the warm.
I read them, and there was one. I think that one was from December of 2023. So he's going back to 2023. And it said something like,
Yeah, with the polycule was
The
active.
kids one was January 3rd, 2024. So,
But also, if he wants to show evidence of things that happened during the time they were together, he's not going to be bringing up texts from 2025. He's not current.
it's weird how he always loves to like distance himself with time. Like the April thing. Like he plays with timelines. He does the thing with April where it's like, we were going through a divorce, so of course she said horrible things like I physically abused her. It's like that was 2 years before that. He loves playing with timelines as if it matters. This was less than a month into the polycule. This was when you were arguably in your right heads before the drugs had taken over, the addiction had taken over, and you in your clear head. This is the time you were talking about moving into that other house. Said, if April was there and my kids weren't, it'd be fine. I mean, let's play with time.
Yeah.
This was at the beginning of the polycule. You were of sound mental health.
It hasn't been a year since Aaron filed for divorce.
No.
He was still married to April a year ago.
Yep.
The Ricaders were not arrested a year ago.
Yep.
They were arguably the best time of their lives.
He was in his 5th or 6th week of not telling her parents what was going on.
Yeah.
I think I could stand
Captain Concern over here.
if I lost my kids, because this was about, I think this was around the time Ashley was going for that HRO because she knew April, she suspected April was on something.
We just watched a clip where people said, did Ashley know April was on drugs? And he goes, no, she didn't know anything until I fessed up everything to her. Now, Ashley knew April was on drugs, and that was the reason for the HRO. The HRO was filed months before the polycule. I don't think April was heavy into the coke then.
I think
and I said,
He contradicts himself constantly.
he had violated the HRO by this point. By the point of the
Yeah.
divorce.
something to the effect of, I could handle losing my kids if I had April with me. Like, it was something like, it's
Yeah, that's a red flag, my friend.
For 3 years almost, you handled not having your parents because April was with you. Let's not pretend like you weren't in your right mind. Again, this is less than a month into the polycule, less than a month into coke territory. And you already had thrown away your parents years ago
Yeah.
for April.
I would love my April more than my parents.
But we're supposed to believe you were fucked up in the head? No. You were considering moving and getting rid of your kids.
He was high on angel pussy.
Right.
Angel pussy with $5.
Yeah, that's a really shitty thing to say. That's a horrible thing to say. And that if I was still like that, then yeah, hit me in the head with a shovel, man, because that's some.
The only reason he would pick his kids over April now is because April's not an option. Now the kids are important.
Yep.
Let's give it a year.